Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Think Global Awards, brought to you by the Think Global Forum. It's a thought leadership community that hosts events, conferences, and thought leadership discussions in the United States and throughout Europe. This online event is proudly sponsored by Vista Tech, Vista Talks, VTQ Magazine, All Things Global, and X Cultural. We're delighted that you can be with us today as we announce the winners of this year's Think Global Awards. So thank you for joining us today. And of course, a special welcome to all our guests, including the award nominees, our forum executives around the world who are joining us today, of course, the judging panel and the Think Global Forum teams. A little bit about the awards. We're now in the fourth year of the awards, which is hard to believe. And it's a program which aims to recognize the achievements and the contributions in a wide range of disciplines, of course, located all over the world. I think if we reflect and we think about it, it has been another extraordinary year for lots of people. A lot of people have managed to shift to working remotely. We've had to. The pandemic is getting worse or better, depending on which part of the world you're currently in. And of course, we're all pretty familiar with video calls or events taking place online now. It is therefore important that we take some time out today to recognize all of the shortlisted entries and of course take some time to recognize the overall winners who, despite everything the last year has delivered, are continuing to forge ahead. If you are shortlisted, we'll be bringing your name up on screen. And obviously, we will be hearing from a few winners today if they would like to join us here live. So thank you to everybody for joining us here today. Finally, I'd like to just mention the fact that the awards are an initiative of the Think Global Forum. And it does bring together global executives and experts from a wide range of industries. And the purpose from its very beginning has been to provide those insights and the thought leadership to the communities that we reach around the world. And to that end, we only very recently held a week-long Think Global Forum Summit Week, which was the first time we've actually held a week-long event. And in addition to the expert panel discussions that we held throughout the 5 days, which were exceptional, we also had a superb keynote delivery from a vice president at Condé Nast, Mel McVeigh. And we also heard from adventurer and athlete, a gentleman called Mark Pollock, who was the first registered blind person to race to the South Pole. And he's now on a mission to cure paralysis in his lifetime. He was is a truly exceptional human being. So thank you to everybody who joined us for the Think Global Forum Summit Week. And we again welcome some of those people back here today for the Think Global Awards. So let's talk about the Think Global Awards and get things moving. The Think Global Awards extends everything that we do in the Think Global Forum. And ultimately, it comes down to recognizing people who are excelling at thinking globally. The awards this year, again, highlight the achievements of individuals, communities, startups, small and medium-sized businesses, global brands, and large-scale international organizations, as I say, many of which are joining us today. So let's get the proceedings underway. And to do that, I'd like to introduce our MC for today, Mr. Declan Brennan. Our distinguished MC's background, he works with lots of many global brands. Some, for example, would be Audi, Johnson & Johnson, Jaguar, British Airways, Peugeot, Radisson, DAA, and World Vision. But he's no stranger to the stage, be it treading the boards or here virtually with us today on this event. He's been involved in a wide range of productions, including Game of Thrones, which I'm sure most of us have heard of, Albert Nobbs, which was directed by Rodrigo Garcia, starring Glenn Close. He's also been in Titanic, Blood and Steel, which was a 12-part television drama, and been involved in Love, Hate, which is a multiple award-winning television series in its own right. So I'd like to introduce you to our MC today, Mr. Declan Brennan.
Well, thank you, Simon, for painting me in what my very first employer, Kodak, and indeed another Simon Singer, Paul Simon, would have referred to as those very nice bright colors of Kodachrome film. One thing I'll say about that list that you gave, variety is a spice that I do enjoy, even though many of the roles that I got to play in those would be classed as minor, but playing in the shadow of many different enterprises and people who set out to achieve great things is always good fun and a great learning experience. Just like what we're setting out to do today, I suppose, with the Think Global Awards. It's good to be with you again, Simon, even if we are separated by this digital space between us. I suppose one of the benefits of meeting in our digital spaceship, if I can use that metaphor, is that we have the potential to include many more people in many more places. So it's to all of you out there who are joining us today, wherever you are, that I extend a very warm welcome to this year's Think Global Awards. It's just coming up to 8 minutes past 4 p.m. here in Ireland on the western edge of Europe, but I'm very conscious that some of you in other parts of the world are joining us at very different times of the day and night. And I believe there are even some who've postponed their sleeping time by joining us in the early hours of tomorrow morning from our perspective. So a special welcome to you on the other side of the world in Australia. Simon and I are not alone here in Dublin. We will be joined by our two guest speakers. Some of the winners will briefly step onto the virtual stage. And all of this will be kept on track by our technical navigators behind the scene, steering us to our final award presentation and the wrap up within the next 2 hours. But before we start with our first presentation, I want to take a moment to acknowledge another group of people whose work has also been behind the scenes. We're very grateful once again this year to have had the services of yet another expert panel of judges, a group of distinguished men and women who kindly gave some of their time to review the work put forward for the Think Global Awards. Each year, of course, a new panel takes on the responsibility of adjudicating the entries submitted for the awards. And this year, the 10 judges were Nicole Kittle from Snap Incorporated, Lucio Bagnulio of Amnesty International, Christina Podnar of Native Trust Consulting, Tim Arata, Local Solutions, Swati Narwal from the Inca Group, IKEA, Lassène Garouge of Salesforce, Siobhan Gantley representing Vistatech, Alex Katsambas from Farfetch, Puneet Bhargava from Deloitte, and Sinead McGay representing Literature Ireland. The judges' deliberations were organized within 14 separate categories, representing a very wide range of enterprises and pursuits. Now, some of them are in the commercial arena, and others highlighting contributions made by not-for-profit organizations, our achievements in education and e-learning, technology, digital transformation, our sustainability. But before we announce the winners, I know that those of you who've been shortlisted for an award may see my role today as simply keeping you in suspense a little longer. Now, that may be partly true, but I also have the pleasure of introducing two very special guests. Our first guest speaker today is Shane Ryan. Now, with a name like that, it'll come as absolutely no surprise to you that Shane's father, Thomas, is from Ireland, from the town of Portarlington in County Laois. But Thomas left Ireland in the 1980s to live and work in the United States, where his son Shane was born and grew up in Philadelphia in the state of Pennsylvania. And it was there that this Irish-American young man became a swimmer and an Olympian at the 2016 Rio Olympic Games. He is selected for the Irish Olympic team to compete this year in Tokyo and is also a former member of Penn State's men's swim team. Now, while his story centers around his work as an athlete, it has an awful lot to say about focus, resilience, and a winning mindset, and how that can be applied by all of us in our chosen pursuits. And we are delighted that Shane has been able to take some time from his busy training schedule to be with us today for this year's Think Global Awards.
Hi everyone, my name is Shane Ryan. I am an Irish Olympic swimmer. I'm so happy to be part of the Think Global Awards. I am your little speaker today. And yeah, I'm going to be talking about like a little bit about myself and the background, and like kind of just talk about like what everyone else is going through. It's just talking about like resilience and what I've gone through to help me get past the whole pandemic and come out of the lockdowns a bit mentally stronger. And so yeah, hopefully you guys can like, take something away from it and enjoy my speech. Just have a little something for you guys. That's all, nothing too crazy. So yeah, my name is Shane Patrick Ryan, a very Irish name. As you can tell, I do not have an Irish accent. I have dual citizenship with Ireland. I get that from my father's side. My dad is born and raised in Ireland, and he moved over to the States where he met my mom in Philadelphia, which is in Pennsylvania. So it's very cool where that's where they met. It's kind of crazy to think about it because my dad is 1 out of 10. He's the only one living in the States. So all 9 of them are still living in Port Arlington, and then my mom's 1 out of 8, and their whole family's living in the States. So big Irish family on both sides. Even my mom's side has, her grandparents were from Mayo, which is on the other side of the Ireland where I'm from currently at in Dublin, Ireland. So yeah, I'm going to talk about like, kind of some of the stuff I've been through, and I'm a big believer in learning from your past experiences and moving forward and learning from them and how to like just mature really from them. And that's one thing I'm really good at. I'm able to see this full situation and take a step back and kind of like evaluate what's good, what's bad, how can I like, benefit from this, or how can I approach this if it's a bad situation. So like I've been in, certain situations growing up because growing up, I kind of got picked on a lot because I have ADD, ADHD, and I don't really talk about that a lot. But I'm always a very like, hyper guy. I'm a very, just a chipper guy. I'm always talkative. I'm always just, as soon as I wake up in the morning, like I'm up, I'm ready to go. So I'm also like, I'm fun to be around. So growing up, like, that was always difficult for me because my mind was just kind of all over the place and didn't really know what was going on. Also growing up, I had a speech impediment. As you guys can tell, I'm not that bad now. So like that took a long time to get rid of. It took about 3 years to get rid of, but it was a lot of hard work of like, going to like a little class after school to learn and all that stuff. So like that was a really big struggle for me, but I got through that. And then, growing up, being teased about, having ADHD, ADD, being in different classes was definitely a bit difficult. But I mean, I just learned a bit different. That was the main thing. It's just I knew I learned a bit different. I knew there was something a bit off about me. But I took it like that's me. Why be down on myself, and why not just like, accept it for what it is and learn in the way that I can learn. So I'm a very visual learner. I'm a hands-on guy. So I love like just being on top of, doing a certain stroke, or like actually like if we're in like a wood class, I need someone just there to show me how to do it. And then I need to try to do it myself. So I'm a very visual learner for sure. So yeah, like that was quite hard. So, schooling wasn't the greatest thing for me. I had to work really hard just to get, through school, and it was kind of difficult. I had to stay after, after school. There was study hours where I had to like stay after and redo that. Or even in high school, I even had to like go to school during the summer. I just had to do it just to get to college, whatever it took, just to make sure that I got my education and got through, which is good because I ended up graduating with a degree from Penn State University in sports management. So I'm very happy about that. But yeah, through high school, like it was just, I just didn't have the right mindset. Everything wasn't there. So that's why I had one of the reasons why I had to go to summer school to retake classes to get my grades up. And everyone knew me as like the swimmer growing up, and it was good to have that. Just making sure that like, I had like I was a swimmer, and like but without like I needed to go to school to continue my swimming and to continue on what I believe I had, which was one day to try to become an Olympian. So going through high school, swimming was a big thing for me. I was part of the US junior national team for 2 years, made the national team, and then that didn't plan out. Ended up moving over to Ireland, which is a really cool situation because I had my dual citizenship for about, mostly my whole life. And that was really good because my mom was really a big part of that, making sure that I had two passports, had that opportunity whenever it came across to make sure that, like, if there was a chance, I was able to represent Ireland and, in the Olympics, or try to at least. So during the 2015, I made the decision to try to go to the Olympics for Ireland. And how that planned out was, I did make the US national team, ended up, weighing out my options. And I'm like, like, why not take a risk and do something a bit crazy? Why not just take that opportunity and see where it goes? So we got in contact with Swim Ireland, and they were absolutely great with making sure that I was able to get over here and get all the right paperwork, knowing what I had to do. And I made a decision within 2 days of getting in contact with Swim Ireland, because you know what, they were like, yeah, we can do it. You have Irish passport. Yep, move on over. As soon as I got off the plane, I made sure that we went right to a lawyer's office. We ended up getting signed documents saying I was here at this time, this day, because from over a year later was Europeans in 2016. So I had to make sure I was able to represent, Ireland in that, in that time span. So come moving over was really, really difficult because, I went from a big university where we have about 50,000 undergrad students. It's such a big social environment, also a big team. Like my Penn State team was about 60 people total, men's and women's. So it's we had a big team. It was a very team environment, and it was we were one big family. But I moved away from my friends, my family, everything, just dropped everything. Even during the time when I made the decision, I still had finals going on. So I had to make sure that Penn State was going to be able to honor, my scholarship. So I was able to take that year off and then come back to get my degree. So yeah, I moved over, and it was a bit difficult. It was really, really difficult because I moved away from everyone, moved in with 50 euros in my bank account. I ended up I brought a bike over. So that was my only means of transportation. And that was very, very hard. Because it's I lived on a huge campus. Nothing was on it. All it was fields, and it was Irish, basically the Irish Olympic Center. But now everything's completely built up. But before that, there wasn't anything there. We had an amazing facility, 50-meter pool. We had a little weight room, and that was really it. And it was hard because I lived basically by myself. And I remember walking to practice at 4 o'clock in the morning, cold, rain, snow, and it was really, really difficult. But at the back of my mind, I'm like, this is going to be worth it, because it's all this hard work, walking 2 kilometers to the pool in the woods, and then coming up onto a path, and then getting to the car park, and then into the pool. I'm like, all right, let's get into the water. Let's do that. And then, went back to the house, and, just make sure I I was trying to eat well. But it was very difficult, during the week, because I was just kind of living for the weekends. Because during the weekends, I would go see my family, and it was a great opportunity for myself to go down to reconnect with my Irish family in Portarlington. So I would either get one of my coaches to drop me off at the train station, or bike to the train station. And then every time when I would get one of my uncles or aunts, they would drive me back down, and we would go food shopping, and that would I would have to get all the food for my 1 week. So I was able to kind of survive. I was surviving there. And it was really difficult to manage, the finances, the really the loneliness of it too. Cause I remember just being in that house, and the house wasn't great. It was an old moldy house. Every time you walked in, your whole face would just get completely the sinuses would just clog up. And it had a certain smell to it as well, which is very distinct. So I remember just sleeping just to pass the time, and it was always just chicken and pasta or beef and pasta. That were the only things I was really eating, and just some veg. So it was difficult. And as the closer and closer as the Olympics came up, I was able to go on to more trips, get out of the house. But it was really, really rough, and I was in a really bad place because I was a little basically depressed during that whole time. But at the end of the day, I knew what I was sacrificing. I sacrificed, being in my comfort zone, and I could have just stayed at Penn State, and done nothing, but I wanted to put myself in a situation where I'll have like a lifetime of memories and lifetime like experiences and meeting new friends. It's like that's one of the reasons why I chose what I did. So, as I went through that, it was hard, but I got through it and everything was good. Ended up, going through and made the Olympics. I was at the time was the very first ever Irishman to qualify for the Irish Olympic team in swimming in Ireland. So that was very good. And then we ended up like going to Rio, which was absolutely amazing. And for me to like move on was I had to swim the best time in the morning at the very first race to make semifinals. So for my very first swim, like Olympics, I made semifinals. I was entered in 14th at the time. And yeah, it was such an amazing experience walking out there and knowing that all the hard work, like the family, your coaches, your friends have sacrificed, like all paid off. And then that ended up like, becoming like I love that, like all that hard work and everything that it just paid off because that started a whole train of, now I am a gold medalist in the World University Games, a two-time European medalist, a world medalist, Ireland's first ever world medalist, and soon to be a two-time Olympian, and one of the fastest, swimmers ever in my events. So it's a really, really cool how everything kind of played out. So, going through everything, going to worlds, then, and then like, going to Europeans, winning the medals. And then as soon as like over a year ago, we were in the airport with the whole pandemic. What happened? We were at the airport, about to go to Edinburgh in Scotland, and we get word that like in Ireland, all the schools were shut down. And my coach made a decision. We're like, yep, we're not going on this trip. We did not go on the trip. We ended up going back. We swam a little bit at the pool, and then everyone went home. And after that, things just got a little bit weirder, a little bit weirder, a little bit weirder. And then we're just like, wow, what's going to happen? Like, things are getting really, really bad. Like, what is this new virus? What's going on? And it ended up being like, COVID-19, the pandemic started really happening. And, things started getting shut down. And then all of a sudden, we find out at practice, our director, John Rudd, ended up coming in and telling us, like, yeah, the Irish Olympic trials have been canceled. And we're like, okay, that's fine, but what about the Olympics? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, surely not. They're not going to do that. Like, and not at that time, because like we weren't wearing masks at the time. There wasn't anything really big to support it. There wasn't even tests at the time. So we're like, okay. We had our last practice on a Thursday, and we find out Friday afternoon that like the whole country of Ireland is going into lockdown. We didn't know for how long or anything like that, but it was devastating. And all we knew was that trials has gotten canceled. And then a week later, we find out that the Olympics had gotten canceled. And that was hard. That was really, really hard because it's just like 4 years, like 4-year blocks of like all the hard work and training. Are like, well, what's going to happen? Everything was in the air. We didn't know what was going on. And at that moment, from all my past experiences, I was like, you know what? I need to make a decision. I took a step back and I realized I was like, okay, like, what do I do? Like, I'm going to be in lockdown. First, I was living by myself. So the lockdown ended up being about 3 months. I lived by myself during those 3 months. So that was pretty difficult, but it was good because I made the decision of, okay, everyone else is in the same situation. Everyone who's qualified for the Olympics, fine, cool. They aren't in the water as well. So it's like my competitors, how am I going to come out of this better than my competitors? How am I going to come out mentally stronger? Like, what can I do? Okay, so I got weights, I got a stationary bike, and the things that I can control is my nutrition. So I ended up planning out, working out 4 hours every single day. I made sure that I eat pretty well. I made sure I was like tailored to what I was like. So lowered the carbs a little bit more protein, making sure that I like, made sure I came out stronger and mentally stronger as well. My coach and my teammates here in Dublin made sure that, we were on a schedule, how important it was to be on a routine, making sure that we were doing little things every single day to, just to make ourselves better. So we make a checklist, I call it the snowball effect. So like every time when I wake up in the morning, I make my bed because that's one thing that's done. and you do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And like, I kind of have a, up on my wall, I have a little saying, it's like, you know, if you can do it in 60 seconds, do it. So that was the one thing I lived by during the lockdown, was like, if you can do it in 60 seconds, do it. So like washing the dishes, doing laundry, picking up something or anything like that. Cause just all these little goals, all these little things can just like, just check them off, check them off, check them off. And it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you get into like a routine. And each day you just try to be better than yesterday. And that's kind of what I lived by during that whole time. And, you know, I actually ended up coming out of lockdown stronger, mentally stronger, and in really good shape, because after that, that shaped me from going into the summer, then when we got back in the water, into a really good shape, because I was able to jump on the bike. I would throw a movie on for 2 hours and I would just cycle. And I found out that my bike only goes up to 100 kilometers and then it resets. So it was really good that I was able to have those little reminders of like, you know, making sure that I was like making my bed, making sure we had like, you know, like core sessions or workout sessions together, making sure we were having Zoom calls and also having game night, talking to my family. And even during the whole time, during the 3 months, in the very beginning, while I was living by myself, I find out that my family in the States all got COVID, and I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm here by myself. What am I gonna do? Like my full family, my mom, my dad, brother and sister all got it. And I'm like, no way. So I'm like on the phone with them almost like every other day, checking in on them, seeing how they are. And luckily they all recovered and they're all fine. And we're currently right now, they're all vaccinated, which is great. But it was a really difficult time. It really was. But like I said, you just gotta like, I just woke up and made sure that I was like, no, I'm gonna be better than I was yesterday. So going through that whole time, it was good, because now it's set up. Since then, I was part of this thing called the ISL, which is the International Swimming League. I ended up breaking 6 Irish national records. I was very, very consistent, very, very fast. Just scored a lot of good points there. And I also had been nominated for the Olympics in Tokyo as well. So a lot of good things have came out. I'm in the best shape of my life, mentally wise. I'm really, really good, strong as well. Because I'm stuck on those little routines. I got used to having a routine and being better than the day before and the day before. So yeah, so currently right now I'm still training. We have Irish trials coming up soon, and then also we have our Europeans as well, which will only be the relays, and then we have Tokyo. So I'm super, super excited to be representing Ireland again, and then I'll be trying to go for the next Olympics. 3 years, only short 3 years after that, and to try to continue and try to be a 3-time Olympian. But as of right now, just taking it day by day, trying to be better than yesterday. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about my story. Hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much, and hopefully everyone stays safe.
Well, thank you to Shane. One thing we can, I think, all agree on, that Olympic athletes really do define what it is to have a single-minded focus on a goal and the limits of what's possible. We wish you well in Tokyo this year, Shane, and in your ambitions for the Paris Olympics in 2024. But now it's time to get on to our first group of high achievers, all of whom are competing for this award here. And I hope you can see that it's a beautiful clear glass piece. And we have 14 award categories to go through today. And the first one starts where we all start, at the beginning. And the importance of the startup is something that the Think Global community recognizes in this very first award. It highlights a startup organization, maybe an individual or a team, demonstrating an ability to think global from day one, to grow, to develop, a one to watch in their industry sector. And the entries shortlisted for the Startup Award are Rollmapper Technologies, Motion Metrics Limited, Freshland, Molesey, Coresight Research, Scene Saver, and Lilo. And what I have before me here is the winner of the Startup Award 2021 is Freshland. And I believe we are joined by a representative of Freshland. Is Alessandro with us? You're very welcome, Alessandro.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see me. So,
yes, we can.
Wow, that's very exciting, actually. I am very proud of receiving this award on behalf of my company. Here at Freshland, we're already very proud of being shortlisted alongside such brilliant companies and individuals. And I think this award is a great confirmation for us that what we're doing is in the right direction. We're facing some very tough global challenges right now, and ensuring sustainable food systems is definitely something that we are all looking into. And what Freshland is proposing is to disrupt the food industry. Everyone here is working in that direction, and we are proposing an integrated IT solution that can bridge consumers and farmers, reducing food waste, reducing the need for middlemen. So thank you again so much for this incredible recognition that we got today.
You're very welcome, Alessandro. Congratulations to you. And I love the tagline on your logo, straight from the farm to us. Thank you, Alessandro. Well, the second category, the Brand of the Year Award, recognizes the brand that's demonstrating outstanding brand performance across multiple channels and locations. Small, medium, and large brands are eligible to enter this award category by telling the story behind how their brand is delivering. The entries shortlisted for Brand of the Year Award this year are OnBuy, Busy Life Limited, STEM Punks, Crafters Companion, and Anna McCord. And the winner is Anna McCord. Our congratulations go to Anna McCord. Anna McCord is a company set up in 2008, an entertainment company that's working with animated brands around the world. So well done to them. The Community Award, our third award, honors not only the best community-aligned website, platform, project, or service, but also a non-profit organization or individual or business that can effectively demonstrate their commitment to their not-for-profit activity or cause. And the entries shortlisted for the Community and Not-Profit Award are Seam Saver, Host in Ireland, the Shona Project, doTERRA, and the Skate Room. And the winner of the Community and Not-for-Profit Award is the Shona Project. And I believe we are joined today by Tammy Darcy from the Shona Project. You're very welcome. Hello, Tammy.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much. We're so excited to be given this award. You know, we've been growing steadily over the last few years and have been creating impact for supporting teenage girls all over Ireland, but also over the last year in Africa and India. So we're really, really chuffed to get this recognition, especially in such a tough year for young people, and to kind of reinforce and even to help to motivate our team who've really, really worked and gone above and beyond the call of duty this year. So thank you very much to Think Global Awards, and we're really, really chuffed again. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy, and congratulations. And great work you're doing, helping teenagers navigate our brave new world. All the very best to you.
Thank you.
Well, our fourth category is a completely new one and has been chosen to seek out the best education and e-learning initiatives around the world. For the Education and E-Learning Award, the judges look for innovative thinking and effective implementation, ideally for an international audience. And the entries shortlisted for the Education and E-Learning Award are Rant Media Limited, Mural, FH Europe, STEM Punks, and Clinical Pharmacist Solutions. And the winner of the Education and E-Learning Award is Rant Media Limited. And Gwen Vaughan from Rant Media is joining us to accept this award from Cardiff in Wales, I believe, Gwen. Gwen, can you unmute your microphone?
Yes, sorry, I was trying. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely delighted to have won that. Thank you very much. It's a project we worked on in partnership with ABRSM to help people of all ages be able to work remotely and still continue with their music learning. And we've done a few different digital apps with them, and they've all been really successful and well received by the students as well as the teachers. So it's great timing, especially this year when obviously all of the face-to-face classes had to stop. So yes, it's thank you very much. I'm really pleased.
You're very welcome, and congratulations, Gwen, for getting top of the list, top of the class, should I say.
Thanks very much.
All the best.
Thanks. Bye.
Well, our fifth award category recognizes the people facing significant changes that have an impact on the fast-moving retail and online e-commerce sector. The judges look out for the best retail or e-commerce company, a brand, person, or indeed a service, and for the ability to demonstrate thinking globally and operating effectively in what is a highly competitive landscape, regardless of where it is located, or indeed the scale of its operations. And the entries shortlisted this year for Retail and E-Commerce Award are Freshland, Reload Digital, OnBuy, and Busy Life Limited. And the winner of the Retail and E-Commerce Award is OnBuy. And Aaron Cody-Boucher from OnBuy is joining us on screen to accept the award from the beautiful south of England, Poole in Dorset, I believe, Aaron.
That's correct. Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Declan. And thank you very much. Obviously, a really good section of people in the shortlist there. And for me, the OnBuy story is just phenomenal. So doing over 100 million in revenue in the last 12 months, up 500% on the year, and well on track to doing 160 million this year. We've only spent 6.2 million pounds on marketing, and we're already at 2% of the traffic of Amazon and 50% of the traffic on John Lewis. So truly disrupting the retail landscape. So thank you very much. And this is on behalf of the team. I'm only on day 8, and they recruited their marketing team. They only started marketing on the in the middle of July 2020. So phenomenal story, and thank you very much.
Well, what a fantastic way to join a company, Aaron. Well done to you.
Day 8, and
well done to you and your team. Congratulations.
thank you very much.
Well, the Media and Advertising Award highlights an individual, a company, or a brand demonstrating creativity and excellence in local or global advertising. But it also looks for achievements in storytelling and engagement, two vital qualities required in the media sector. This award is open to all types of advertising media created or delivered. And the entries shortlisted for the Media and Advertising Award are Crowd, OnBuy, Irish Guide Dogs, and Punjab Radio. And the winner of the Media and Advertising Award for 2021 is Irish Guide Dogs. Irish Guide Dogs is a charity based in Cork, and I believe we're being joined by John Burke from Irish Guide Dogs to accept the award. John, you're very welcome.
Hi, Declan. Thank you very much. I just noticed the background is the one I had on yesterday, so it's still there.
You're in a sunnier place than me.
Well, I'm in Wicklow. I'm down the road from you, so not too far away. We're truly humbled and delighted and surprised to be the winners of the award. Congratulations to all the other people who are shortlisted. Like a lot of people here, it's been a tricky year for us, but we're in a privileged position to be able to continue to sort of serve the visually impaired and blind people of Ireland, and also families of children with autism. And I look forward to sharing all of the good news of this with everybody, all the volunteers across Ireland, all the assistance dog owners, guide dog owners, and staff in Cork and Dublin. So thank you everybody for putting this together. There's a lot of work involved, I'm sure. And thank you for the judging panel for selecting us. So thank you very much.
Congratulations, John. And congratulations to your team for all the great work that you do.
Many thanks. Thank you.
Well, just a reminder that the awards, we have 14 of them in total, and we're coming now to number 7. We're almost at the halfway mark. The Going Global Award recognizes and highlights achievements, and it shines a light on organizations regardless of size or scale. And those particularly who are demonstrating their ability to think and go global. The entries shortlisted for the Going Global Award are Anna McCord, Rocket, Globalization Partners, The Skate Room, and Payslip. And the winner of the Going Global Award for 2021 is Rocket. And if my screen is not lying to me, we are going to the other side of the world to join Angela to accept the award for Rocket. You're very welcome, Angela.
Pronounced rocked, so I must correct you, but I'm so excited. I'm grinning from ear to ear. I'm from a company called Rocked. We are the global leader in e-commerce marketing technology, and our mission is to bring e-commerce to make it smarter, faster, and better across the globe. And so we currently operate in 16 markets: the US, Canada, Ireland, Australia, Spain, Finland, Norway, Singapore, tons more. But to be shortlisted is such a huge honor. So especially to win in a category about our ability to think and go global is such a massive win for us. Our team really does work every day to kind of adapt a global mindset. You know, we speak 34 languages here, and we hail from 31 different countries. 61% of our employees are working outside of the country where they're born, and it just brings such diverse backgrounds. You know, we provide visa sponsorships and employees for their families, and I'm just super excited to accept this. And thank you so much.
Congratulations, Angela. And I know you've got offices in Sydney and Melbourne. Which side of Australia are you speaking to us from?
Yeah, our office is in Sydney. We have office in Sydney, Tokyo, New York City, London, and Singapore, and Boston.
And we're especially grateful to you for staying up so late.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, at this halfway point, we're going to pause the award to introduce our second speaker. Apis Protect brings groundbreaking technology to commercial beekeeping. Bees, those wonderful little creatures buzzing around gardens and fields, are responsible for a huge proportion of the population that drives global food production. Now, using Internet of Things technologies, Apis Protect extracts data from hives remotely. Their approach applies artificial intelligence to that data and converts it into useful information that helps beekeepers to make the best use of their resources, including the people who look after the beehives. The company was listed in Fast Company's list of the most innovative companies in Europe and won the Startup Award at the Think Global Awards 2020. And Apis Protect won 2 gold awards at the National Startup Awards in 2019, a gold in the Tech Startup of the Year category, and also a gold in the Agritech Startup of the Year category. Now here to talk to us about Apis Protect and all the wonderful work it does, and lots more, is Dr. Fiona Edwards-Murphy.
Thanks so much. That was a great introduction. It's really great to be back this year at the Think Global Awards. So yeah, it was fantastic. Last year we won the Startup Award. So just want to say congratulations to Freshland. It's really exciting to see another food tech, ag tech startup winning that award, and really nice to be nominated again tonight. So thanks very much. So I have some slides here that I'm going to share. Hopefully that will work. I'm going to assume it's working unless somebody interrupts me. So like Declan mentioned, what we do at Apis Protect is we help to safeguard 1/3 of the food that we eat every day. So 1/3 of the foods that we eat every day is dependent upon pollinators. So the majority of those are insect pollinators. And of those, the only insect pollinator that we can actually manage at an industrial scale and at the scale that we do modern agriculture is the honeybee. So honeybees are very important when it comes to a variety of the most nutritious, sorry, 1 second, I just see a chat. Oh, thanks very much. Okay, so they're fundamentally important when it comes to a variety of the foods that bring a huge amount of protein, nutrients, vitamins into our diet. So foods like almonds, avocados, blueberries, cranberries, basically soft fruit, nuts, fruit and vegetables. So honeybees actually trigger the mechanism that allows those plants to turn their flowers into the food that we eat. So they're a keystone species in our diet. And unfortunately, over the last 30 to 40 years, there have been huge problems globally in almost all pollinators, and that does include honeybees. So these days, unfortunately, beekeepers around the world are losing up to half of their honeybees every year. That's due to a variety of different problems, things like diseases, pests, general hive problems, and even actually just being able to manage their honeybees. So as you try to scale up honeybees, scale up beekeeping to supply things like the almond industry, it becomes very difficult to use what are traditional beekeeping methods. So beekeeping is a form of agriculture that really hasn't changed significantly in hundreds of years. I mean, often when we're talking to beekeepers, they tell us, the biggest technological advancement in beekeeping ever, up until our technology, has been the invention of the forklift, because then they're able to pick up 3 or 4 hives at once instead of just 1 hive at a time. So that's, when you're talking about big changes in beekeeping, it's, we're talking about really kind of old technology at this stage. And the one crop that we like to talk about all the time when it comes to honeybees and when it comes to honeybee pollination in particular is the almond industry. So over the last 4 years, I've learned an awful lot about almonds and a lot about the almond industry, and it's an absolutely fascinating event that takes place every year, which is the almond pollination season. So every February, in order for all of the orchards in California, so 80% of the almonds that we eat in the world are produced in California in kind of a 5-county area. So there are 1.33 million acres of almonds there in California. Every single one of those acres, in order for it to produce any almonds at all, needs 2 beehives. So we need to put 2 beehives in every single acre of almond orchards. There are 1.33 million acres in California. So logically, we're saying we need 2.6 million beehives in order for the almond industry to exist at all. And unfortunately, there are only 2 million beehives in the entire commercial beekeeping industry in the US. So you can see there that we're instantly running into a problem. So over the last, say, 30 years, the prices that farmers will pay beekeepers just to put their beehives in their almond orchards have risen exponentially. Now beekeepers get paid about $2 every February for about 2 weeks. So that's very lucrative for the beekeepers, which is great. It's made beekeeping a much more profitable area of agriculture to be working in. But it's also led to a lot of problems, like that, trying to scale up beekeeping, trying to keep more beehives with the same amount of resources is very difficult. And also just trying to manage transporting the beehives in and out. So you could be spending $20,000 on loading up a truck with 400 beehives and driving it from somewhere like, the East Coast, somewhere like Louisiana or somewhere like Maine, drive those beehives all the way across to California, and then drive them back at the end of the almond orchard season. But actually that's still profitable for the beekeepers, but it's very difficult. It's a good way to damage your beehives, for your beehives to die. If they're sick or unhealthy at the start of that journey, they can often be dead by the time they finish that journey. And unfortunately, it's so intense, it's so fast, you need to be able to deliver your hives to almonds on time, or you don't get paid for your contract and you've wasted the $20,000 to ship your bees across the country. So the beekeepers are trying to work as fast as possible. They're trying to get everything done with very limited resources. And that leads to a huge amount of problems. It's not great for the bee health. It's not great for the farmers themselves. They're very stressed, and they have no visibility of what's going on in their operation at all, because they're running around. The only way to understand what's happening inside in the beehive is to drive to the beehive, which could be, there could be a 2 or 3 hour drive away from your farm, because you can only keep beehives so close together before they start to outcompete each other for food. So you have to drive out to your bee farm, you have to put on your bee suit, you have to open up the beehive and look inside and rummage around for a while before you even know what's going on. Another thing bee farmers tell us regularly is, I wish I could be a dairy farmer, because at least I can drive down the road outside the field and I can tell if all the cows are dead. If you're a beekeeper, you can't tell if all of your hives are dead until you've done a lot of work. So that's what we saw back in 2017, myself and my co-founder, or my co-founders. We saw that there was this industry that had these huge specific problems, and that, I'd spent a few years working on technology. So my own background is in electrical engineering. So I studied electrical engineering at UCC, University College Cork, here in Cork, and fell in love with sensor technologies and sensor applications. So I really, really loved what was called at that stage wireless sensor networks. Today it's called the Internet of Things. It's had a variety of different names in between. But basically, I loved taking sensors into the real world, collecting data, and then using that to achieve something meaningful. I mean, that's what made me absolutely fall in love with the area of Internet of Things. Just using data to help change things in the real world. So working on things like e-health, structural health monitoring, even education, and the impact that IoT can have on those industries. And when I started to learn about beekeeping and learn about the bee industry, I was like, oh, it's so obvious. You need sensors. Like, sensors is how you're going to tell what's going on out there before you have to drive all the way out to the fields and do your work. So I spent a few years at UCC doing my PhD on sensor applications for bee health. And in 2017, just finishing that up, I was like, so there's technologies available in the market, but they're quite clunky, they're very expensive, the battery doesn't last very long in them. So they're really not suitable for these kind of operations, the operations where you've got to move 10 or 20,000 beehives across the country. You can't be fiddling around with wires and fiddling around with batteries inside every one of those beehives. It completely cancels out the whole objective of sensor technology. So what we wanted to do was create something that could be scaled up in the same way that beekeeping needs to scale up in order for us to keep eating all of these really important foods. So what we've done, we've developed our solution. So we've got an in-hive sensor. So it's a small sensor that goes inside the beehive. From that sensor, we collect temperature, humidity, sound, and movement data. So those are the 4 data points that we found were most useful. We extract that data from beehives all around the world, and then we apply our machine learning techniques. So machine learning, a lot of you have probably heard about it already. It's a core part of artificial intelligence. It's basically a computer that can learn from past experiences. So we've collected an awful lot of data from the real world about what the sensors are saying inside healthy beehives, inside unhealthy beehives, inside beehives that are dead, beehives that are producing honey or not producing honey. And what that computer is able to do is identify from new sensor data that comes in, okay, that beehive looks like a beehive that was healthy in the past or a beehive that was unhealthy in the past. And it's able to then pass back to the beekeeper actionable insights. What these actionable insights are is information about what's happening in the beekeeper's operation. So we didn't want to tell beekeepers, okay, you have to understand what the temperature inside your beehive means. Like, you don't need to learn about the patterns as, bees produce more babies or they produce less honey and the temperature changes. We don't want the beekeepers to have to become experts in that. We want to tell them, okay, we're looking at your temperature and it's telling us that you need to go inspect your beehive, or you need to go feed your beehive, or your beehive's after falling over because it's windy in your field. Simple things like that even are very, very important when your beehive is a 3-hour drive away. So that's our product. That's what we set out to do, and that's what we've done. And as part of that, we had to collect data from beehives all over the world. So we had a very interesting few years in 2017, 2018, and 2019. We launched, or we didn't launch our product, we launched our R&D phase, where we partnered with beekeepers all over the world. So beekeepers in the USA, here in Ireland, in the UK, and in South Africa, to get that data set in order to train our machine learning. So I've got some nice photos here. It was a really interesting adventure just to see what beekeeping was like all over the world when you're coming from Ireland, where we've got, you learn an awful lot about beekeeping, and you learn about why you're doing things. Like here in Ireland, we've got very big hives, very heavy hives, because it's really windy. And what we want to do is make sure that in the middle of the winter, the beehive isn't going to fall over and open and get too cold and die. Whereas, for example, here in our beehives in South Africa, they were really, really small and really, really light because they're trying to cool them down as much as possible because it gets a lot hotter. So that's actually a beehive in a wildlife reserve in South Africa. Another problem that they were dealing with there was baboons. So when you're dealing with technology, until you go into the real world, you don't really learn about all of the problems that you're going to have to deal with. So there, it was like, okay, if there's any wires, anything exposed, the baboons are going to come along and they're going to rip it all out because they like to just play with anything that's different. So that was an interesting challenge to solve. Here we've got hives in California, which again, they're concerned a lot more about heat than they were about cold or wind, or they're worried as well about forest fires and knowing where your beehives are and making sure that they get moved before they burn. So that was really interesting. And then even hotter again, we have beehives in Arizona. And there they have a lot of trouble with Africanized beehives. So beehives that have had this interaction with between African and European bees that create very dangerous bees. So you have to wear a lot more safety equipment going out to those beehives than you do, say, in Ireland. And then we have another picture a little bit closer to home. So this is in the Peak District in the UK, so at the top of a mountain. So we're dealing with, I guess, beekeeping a bit more similar to here in Ireland. You're worried about cold, you're worried about damp, you're worried about wind. But it was, again, a really interesting place to see that there's a lot more, I guess, commercially scaled beekeeping in the UK than there is in Ireland, because their climate is just that little bit more reliable than ours. So it was really interesting to spend all of that time in the field. And I think something that we've done at Apis Protect that I'm particularly proud of is everybody on our team. So we've got a great team of engineers, software developers, business development people, marketing people, and we all spend time in the field. Everybody has worn a bee suit. Everybody has been out there and understands how the product that we're producing fits into the real world of beekeeping. So we've spent a lot of time in the field. Everybody knows, everybody cares very deeply about bees and about the impact that our technology has on the bees, the animal welfare, and then the agriculture and the food production and the sustainability of what we're doing. I've got a picture here of our final product. So an awful lot of engineering challenges to overcome, things like batteries. What kind of battery are you going to use? How are you going to make sure the battery lasts long enough when it's getting really hot and really cold? How are we going to make sure the bees themselves don't destroy the product, because they like to cover everything inside in the beehive with stuff they have that's called propolis, which is basically like a varnish that they collect from trees, covered in wax, even dripping honey on it. So it's waterproof, it's propolis resistant. It's now completely self-installed by the beekeeper. So another thing we think about a lot is, how does this technology get deployed? If we seriously want someone with 10,000 beehives to install this in their operation, it needs to be, we've gotten there less than 2 minutes per beehive, so it's a few days to roll the technology out. Then when it's being maintained, the battery life is over 2 years on it. There's no equipment required, because you can very, very quickly, with these kind of large operations, you're asking them to do something like replace the batteries every 6 months. Suddenly they have to employ a person just to keep doing laps of their operation replacing batteries. So understanding everything really about the real world that the product is going to have to experience. Another thing is our website. So we designed this as the website where the beekeepers go to actually access the data and learn about what's happening in their beehives. And again, we have to think about this. We have to take a step back, especially as a team of scientists and engineers. We love data, we love numbers, we love insights, and we're always thinking about all the cool things that we can do and all the interesting and technological things that we can do. We had to take a step back and go, what do the beekeepers actually want to know about? So we tell them really, really straightforward things like this screen in particular. If the beehive is lying on its side, that beehive has had a movement event. So it could be knocked over, or it could be damaged, or a bear could have opened it. It's taking it back down to the really simple information that actually has the biggest impact on an operation. And as well, another thing we had to think about was the language barriers. So, we all speak English on the team, but we've got a variety of different languages as well as different second languages, and understanding that everybody who's going to be using the technology in the field doesn't necessarily speak English. So make sure that the information can be conveyed as easily as possible, regardless of somebody's primary language. And here's another screenshot of this is the kind of information that we provide to our beekeepers in Ireland. So we identify here's the beehives that have strange temperature behavior, strange humidity behavior, the sound is different. So that helps them identify which beehives in their operation are behaving differently and that they need to actually go inspect. Because what we've seen over the last few years is 80% of the beehives at any given time don't need to be inspected. And right now, beekeepers are inspecting every single beehive in their operation. So that means 80% of their labor budget is actually wasted because they're inspecting beehives that don't need to be inspected. They're working on beehives that don't need work. And what the benefit of having that kind of information is it helps them to manage their time and resources, helps them to know where their people, where their attention is needed. They're able to check on their beehives anytime, anywhere. They can just log into the website and see what's going on, evaluate the condition of each colony remotely, and then identify which beehives are weak, which ones actually need the intervention, which ones are those 20% of beehives that need people's attention at any given time. And as a result of that kind of information, what we see is improved apiary management. So when you know what beehives actually need your attention, you can give each individual beehive more attention. There's increased production, so more productive hives are grown, more bees in that beehive. That means more honey production, more pollination output, fewer losses. We're able to identify and intervene on problems earlier, and peace of mind. So just knowing that you're able to log in and check if your beehives are dead makes the beekeepers relax an awful lot more. So that's the overview of what we do at Apis Protect. Anybody who's interested in learning more, feel free to reach out to us. You can go onto our website. That's the best place to learn a bit more about us. We're just really excited to be able to provide a technology. And we're providing our products that are released actually is our commercial technology in the US. So we're working with commercial beekeepers over there, and then here in Europe, we've launched our hobbyist technology in Ireland. So we're, it's available for pre-order at the moment for delivery later on in the summer. And so Irish beekeepers can access our technology too. And our objective is to make Irish beekeepers the most technologically advanced beekeepers in the world. And then we'll move on to the rest of Europe and make them just as advanced. Thanks very much for listening. And what we do at Apis Protect is we help protect our most important little friends, keep them healthy, and continue providing us with food for generations to come.
Thank you very much, Fiona. You certainly leave us with a reinforced respect for those important little friends buzzing around us. And while the bees, of course, are central characters in your fascinating story, it's very reassuring to see that beekeepers around the world are helping to sustain our food chain using the ingenuity and the technology that you bring to bear on the problems they face. So thank you very much for that. And it is to technology that we return as we go back now to the awards. Technology is having an impact on absolutely every aspect of our lives. This next award category is for a tech company or a tech-related product or service that deserves recognition. The Technology Award honors outstanding achievement in technology and innovation. And the entries shortlisted for the Technology Award are Babel Street, Allokay, Apis Protect, and Payslip. And the winner of the Technology Award is Allokay. And we are joined by Marie from Allokay. I know that the company has offices in many places, but is Berlin where you're joining us from today, Marie?
Yes, actually, sorry, I thought that was on the video. Yes, I'm in Berlin. And thanks a lot. Actually, I'm emotional actually. Yeah, thanks a lot for the award, and it's quite amazing with this world pandemic to actually connect and to hear so many of those people who have been winning the awards and the one who were actually a finalist. And yeah, thanks as well for organizing this event. It's great to see that an organization thinking global as well, and it's really something for me that is so important. And we working for the video game industry. We develop software to bring content faster and in better quality, and using the platform Allokai. And of course, it's at the end to make sure that all those players, kids and families, but as well as core gamers are able to play this game in their language, and so that they feel close to the game as well. And yeah, to be honored, it's a great honor to be in this as well. And I just want to finish on thanks a lot so much to my team who has been working through this world pandemic and being so much able to laugh and sending memes through every channel possible, and that we can still have a great time, although with this quite challenging time as well. Thank you.
We would join with you, Marie, in congratulating the whole team there at Allokai for the work that you've done. Congratulations. Now, the Travel Award, our next award, is open to brands, but to companies as well and individuals in the travel and hospitality sector. It looks for new and established shining stars and the creative travel-related initiatives that demonstrate and recognize both ingenuity and development in the broader travel industry landscape. And the entries shortlisted for the Travel Award are Visit Sweden, Travel Zoo, Rebound Tag, and Secret Street Tours. And the winner of the Travel Award for 2021 is Visit Sweden. And we are joined by Ruth from Visit Sweden, who's here to accept the award. You're very welcome, Ruth. And I see you on my screen, but there you are. Welcome, Ruth.
Yes. Hello, thank you so much. I'm really, really happy to accept this award today. It's also kind of unreal what we are doing today with the travel industry, given the current situation. But we continue to, fight. We continue to really march on with this struggle, and the whole journey of promoting Sweden internationally has been a really good experience for me. So I would just like to say that we are open and welcome to inviting you here to Sweden, experience the Northern Lights and the Ice Hotel and many other beautiful places and experiences that we have. So welcome to Sweden, and thank you.
Thank you, Ruth, and congratulations on the work that you are doing in inspiring everybody to visit Sweden once the time comes around again when they can travel and go and visit that wonderful country. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Our 10th award, the Sustainability Award, is a new category. And it's one that recognizes the efforts of individuals and organizations in contributing to a more sustainable society throughout the world. The judges look for innovative ways that have been developed to help protect the environment. And the entries shortlisted for the Sustainability Award are Polestar, Stone Group Rant Media, Freshland, Apis Protect, and Rocktel. And the winner of the Sustainability Award 2021 is Polestar. And our congratulations go to everyone at Polestar, an electric car company, a high-performance electric car company established back in the mid 1900s, 1996, I think it was. owned by Volvo and Geely in China. And not only have they won our sustainability award, but they also hold a gold LEED status rating, which is for leadership in engineering, in energy, I beg your pardon, and environmental design. Now, our next category is the Life Sciences Award. This is an important award for the life sciences, but for healthcare individuals also and companies around the world. The award goes to the company demonstrating developments, progress, and innovation in the vitally important global area of life sciences. The category is open to companies, to teams, and also to individuals. And the entries shortlisted for the Life Sciences Award are Clinical Pharmacist Solutions, Pale Blue Dot Recruitment, and Equine MediRecord. And the winner of the Life Sciences Award is Clinical Pharmacist Solutions. Our congratulations go to the team at Clinical Pharmacist Solutions. They're involved in training, recruitment, and clinical services, specializing in the use of clinical pharmacist skills in GP, general practitioner surgeries. Now we have 3 more awards to present. In the Professional Services Award category, the judges look for outstanding professional services, an outstanding team, department, or organization that is delivering something special in the area of professional services. And the entries shortlisted for professional services this year are Coresight Research, CSA Research, Rant Media Limited, and the Newcom Global Group. And the winner of the Professional Services Award is CSA Research. Well, congratulations to the team there for the work they do on developing primary research for content and language services throughout the world. Our penultimate award is the Language Industry Person of the Year Award. And this goes to an individual who demonstrates outstanding leadership and understanding in the important area of thinking globally. The entries shortlisted for Language Industry Person of the Year Award are Ulrich Heinz, Alex Katsambas, Mimi Hills, and Iti Sahe. And the winner of the Language Industry Person of the Year Award is Ulrich Heinz. Well, congratulations go to Ulrich, the founder of the Localization Institute in the United States, based in Madison, Wisconsin, a company involved in consulting and events organization. And so we come to our final category, digital transformation. In this category, the judges look at how a business has effectively transformed the way it operates and functions through the application and adoption of digital transformation, technology, or processes. The award considers how projects and people have contributed to a successful overall transformation. The focus is on 3 key areas: innovation, impact, and implementation. And the entries shortlisted for digital transformation are Freshland, ServiceNow, Clinical Pharmacist Solutions, and Base Technologies. And the winner of the Digital Transformation Award is ServiceNow. Well, congratulations to everyone there. ServiceNow is a software company in California that develops a cloud computing platform to manage digital workflows. Well, that's it, the last of our successful 14 award winners. I would like to congratulate all the shortlisted entrants and of course congratulate once again all of today's award winners in this year's Think Global Awards. Well, I think you'll agree, Simon, that was another glittering global gallery of stars we have this year. I'm sure the task of choosing one winner from each category was was not an easy job for the judges.
That's right, Declan. Thank you so much indeed for taking us through all the winners today. I mean, what a fantastic awards event again this year. So listen, first of all, congratulations to everybody who was shortlisted this year. It was very tough, and our judges did some fantastic work. Our panel of 10 judges did some tremendous work again this year to help us not only with the shortlist, but obviously the hard decisions of choosing the winners. And congratulations, of course, to all of the winners today. I wanted to also give a special thank you to Vistatech, who are proudly sponsoring the Think Global Forum and the Think Global Awards. And through the support of Vistatech and the work that it does globally around the world, to VTQ Magazine, to Vista Talks, the podcast, All Things Global, a webcast, and X-Cultural. And of course, I want to thank as well our MC, Declan Brennan, and to Shane Ryan, who spoke, and of course, Dr. Fiona Edwards-Murphy. I suppose what's left for me to touch on is that we will open again for year 5. Hard to believe, I know, but year 5 of the Think Global Awards will be announced again later this year. So do stay tuned to everything Think Global Awards and Think Global Forum on the usual social media channels, where we'll have some more information for you later this year. So look, a final well done to everybody. Really appreciate people joining us live here today. So thank you for doing that from all over the world. And I'll hand back to you, Declan. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Simon. I do hope that all of you, wherever you are, have enjoyed today's event. And as Simon says, that's it for another year. But do stay tuned to the Think Global Forum by visiting the website at thinkglobalforum.org for more information on upcoming events. And thank you for joining us at today's Think Global Awards presentations. All the very best to you, wherever you are, and stay safe. Bye-bye.